Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, all of my beautiful friends from the internet. I hope each and every single one of you is doing just spectacular on this fine Tuesday morning or whenever you happen to be listening to the podcast, whether that be morning, evening, or night. Welcome to the Reddit Asks Us podcast, the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Now, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever else you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. You have no idea how much that helps the show and boosts the algorithm, boosts the show in the algorithm. So thank you all so much for doing that, even just till this day. And I would really appreciate if that's something that you could take a few seconds out of the time of your day to do. I would very much greatly appreciate that. Now, remember, you can answer this week's Reddit question in Spotify and you don't need a membership to do this. You can listen to episodes completely free and download them for free in Spotify by going to the most recent episode, clicking the description of the episode, or really any episode if you want to. Clicking the description, there should be a white icon in the description that says reply, and you can reply to this week's question, and you will be notified when your response is published, and I will read out your response aloud on the next week's following episode. So why don't we hop in to last week's responses. We got 7 responses last week. Again, this is just incredible. It's amazing to me to think that people even respond in general, and to have 7 people respond on an episode is just like thrilling. So thank you all so much. Excuse me. So the last week's episode was, what was the weirdest thing that someone casually told you? So this one, again, I need to look up the name of this emoji. I see it all the time, but it's the one with the dotted lines around the face, and it's a very unimpressed look, and that they saw my Twitter. I don't know if that's like an embarrassing thing. Like, how it like what do you have on your Twitter? Is your Twitter like yo, man, I saw your Twitter, bro. I saw that shit, bro. It's like, okay, did you see how I retweeted about how the Vikings lost last night? Because that's what you're going to see on my Twitter. All right, next one comes from Hudson Willome. What's going on, Hudson? This still haunts me. In the 6th grade, there was a kind kid I was friends with. They told me to have sex with them or they would kill me, and the next day they brought a hunting knife to school. Oh my god, round out of space. That is wild. What is up with these, like, kids bringing knives to school? Like in the 6th grade? Like, come on, really? Like what do you need to bring a knife to school for? Like can't you show them the knife outside of school? Does this have to happen in a school? Like, no. I'm going to show you my knife, but it has to be at school though, bro. Has to be at school. No, I can't show it to you at my house, man. It's a whole thing. It can't happen. I must hide it in my backpack and then quickly flash it to you while we're trying to hide it from the teacher. That's insane. When I was in the 6th grade, I don't even think I knew what sex was, bro. Like, I would have been like, what? What? You're going to put a knife to me and just like what am I supposed to do? I don't even know. I would have been dead meat. But that's a wild story, man. Holy crap. Next one comes from Mason. What's going on, Mason? If I wasn't so chill, I would kill you right here. Out of nowhere, a guy I had never talked to before. This was years ago in middle school. Yeah, he's so chill. He's so chill. Other than making death threats out of absolutely nowhere, I'm a really chill guy, you know? Other than, my violent tendencies, my tendency to just, kind of out of nowhere just get really angry, rageful, violent, and just go to town on anything around me. I'm a pretty chill guy. Yeah, I mean, who doesn't have just just spontaneous bouts of rage where you feel like harming people. I'd say it's pretty common nowadays. We live in a stressful world. Am I right? It's a tough world out there, so it's just, you gotta figure out a way to deal with it. Some people meditate. I threaten others with violence. That's just my way to cope. All right. It's perfectly healthy. And you know what? I'd say I'm a pretty chill guy. All right. My probation officer, I think he probably agrees. He said I'm a pretty chill guy, most of the time, obviously, probation officer. So, there's not, he's seen me at my worst, if you know what I mean. But other than those moments, I'm a pretty chill guy, pretty chill. Phil Savannah, hello, Phil, says, sir, sorry, folks, my asthma's acting up. Sir, I don't know why you think I'd be interested in a 10-minute conversation about how you wipe your ass. A guy told me he took an upper decker at a party when we were in high school. Look it up. I know what that is, and I'm gonna let people on the who are listening to the podcast right now go ahead and look that up for themselves, because that's disgusting. I don't see, this is a thing for me too. I don't find like bodily stuff funny. Like when people do that type of shit and they think it's super hilarious that they're, that it's that they've discovered the lost holy grail of comedy, Oh my God, poop. No one's ever joked about this before. It's like, come on, bro. Get over it, dog. Like, it's just not funny to me. Like, I think that's just like the lowest common denominator of humor. And it's just like, and I'm not a bodily functions guy in general. I'm just not a big fan of just the body and just things. Like I'd never have gone into like a medical field. It's just no freaking way. Like, it's just, it's not my humor. I just don't find that type of shit very funny. So if someone told me that, I think I would be like, you're disgusting, and I think I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. I think I'm gonna move over. I think I'm gonna go talk to some other people. I think I'm gonna leave this conversation. Next one comes from Grayson Sandersfeld. What's going on, Grayson? My dad told me when I was about 10 that my grandpa hid in an oven with a maid to escape some Japanese in World War II on an island in the Pacific, and I don't know which one. That's kind of a interest. That's such a dad thing to do. Just like while you're driving in the car, just like it's totally silent. You're on a road trip, just your dad, your grandpa. They tried to burn him alive in an oven back in World War II. Yeah. Actually, he managed to escape, but he was in there with a maid. Yeah, they burnt her to a crisp. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they didn't spare any expense in burning her. Yeah, it's like, I'm literally 10. I'm scarred. I'm horrified. That image is gonna last with me forever. Excuse me. I have a similar story. Not necessarily similar. I don't remember how this came about, but I was really young, and my grandpa told me this story about how we have some sort of, like, one of my grandpa's great uncles or something in the early 1900s, late 1800s or something like that, during the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, because that's like where a bunch of our family's from, and my family were all like Mennonites, so they were pacifists, and when the Bolsheviks, were having the revolution, the Mennonites didn't participate because they were pacifist people, and so my, whatever it is, great uncle or whatever, was a baker, and so they threw him in his oven and like burned him alive in his oven. And I remember being told that as a child and being like, that image is gonna last with me forever, Grandpa. And since I don't know your great uncle, I'm picturing you. So that's great. I love that. I am going to really never forget that information. That is just wonderful imagery for the mind. They told, they say that a big thing for kids is imagination, right? So you gotta cultivate that imagination, right? You just gotta really mentally scar them, with really violent imagery, so they never forget it, and they just have to, picture that for themselves, and then who knows in the future what they're going to do with that. I don't know. Maybe it's just lasting trauma. It's just one of those things. Am I right? Next one comes from The Dopic. So what's up? Someone told me that they got off to this girl I was friends with every day after high school. I was like, what the fuck? I didn't talk to him after that. Like, I don't think that these... We need to have better, like, social, learning, social classes and training in for kids. Like, that's your opener, bro? Really? Like, that's what you think people are going to want to hear? Yeah, let me just say some creepy shit. Yeah, let me just be like, yeah, so, I don't really know you that well, but I spy on girls. Yeah, I like to peek at them, when they're not looking, and, I like to obsess about them. I follow around, I take photos of them, I harass them online, it's kind of just a hobby of mine. What are your hobbies? My hobbies are getting the fuck out of here and far away from you. Last one comes from Stressed Human. What is up, Stressed Human? Great to see you back here again. A guy said he had been watching me for 2 months after he saw me at a dance. Not followed me home, but would keep an eye on me at the dances or at church. He would arrive early to see me. I had never met him. Yeah, that's your protector right there. Yeah, well, he thinks so. He's really convinced he's your, he's your bodyguard. I'll make sure they won't screw with you. I'll keep an eye on you. I'm sorry, who are you? I have no idea who you are. I've never met you in my entire life, and to be honest, you're kind of creeping me out. Don't worry, I've kept an eye on you every single dance, every single time you've been here. I often follow you home too, so no need to worry at all. Right there. I'm always watching. Trust me, always watching. Yeah, I've got cameras following. I've got you on the GPS tracker. You are so safe. You are safer than most people on the planet right now because I'm watching over you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call the police. Yeah, I think I'm gonna report this as a crime. All right, folks. So why don't we hop into, and also thank you again for everyone who commented. Please, if you have something to say, or even if you just want to compliment the show, I would very much greatly appreciate any comments, and I definitely will read them out loud. So most appreciated. Love all of you, my beautiful friends. So this week's episode is what immediately tells you that someone is a trashy parent. And, I'm trying my best to remember to think about things before I do the podcast, so I have, like, something to say or something to contribute. But I definitely think a big one that gives away trashy parents. 2 of them for me is, like, how they let their kids behave in like an amusement park. Because let's be real, the amusement park, like Disney and all that, is like a cesspool of just the most, just everyone across the spectrum. All right, it is, and it's full of just people who are just they couldn't care less what their kids do. They're just like, just go, they'll figure it out. They might die, they might hop into a gorilla enclosure, but how else are they gonna learn, right? I'm not gonna hold their hand. It's like, well, you're literally their parent. Holding their hand is what you're supposed to do. It's like, I'm not going to baby them. Well, they're a literal baby. That child is 4 years old. That is a baby, okay? So you kind of have to baby them. I think there's due cause to baby them. And how they let their kids behave in a restaurant. Oh my god, dude. Some kids throw tantrums, bro, in restaurants, and it's so embarrassing. Like, don't get me wrong. If a kid's crying in a restaurant, something like that, it's okay, whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, kids cry all the time, and kids cry for good reasons, and like babies and stuff. But tantrums are different. Like, when the kids are just when the parents are allowing the kids to just say anything to them, like, you're an asshole. It's like 8 years old. It's like, well, I can tell that this relationship's probably not gonna work out very well. You're probably not raising the most successful adult human being right there. All right. So first one comes from Rush BJ. Your adult children don't talk to you, and you don't know why. Yeah. I just tried to ask my daughter. I was just asking. I wasn't demanding. I was in a bit of debt. Okay, so I took their car and sold it. What was I supposed to do? It's my daughter. Her car is my car. All right? I have anything she owns. They always say, like, I gave birth to her. It's like, well, no, you didn't. Your wife did. But also, anything she owns is mine. You know, she wouldn't even be alive if it wasn't for me. So, you know, I can do with my daughter's things whatever I see fit. I stole her car. Well, stole. I really took back my own property. And like any money she's made is only made because I brought her into this world. So, but now she won't talk to me, and now she wants to get a restraining order, you know, and she's threatening to call the police. Like, come on. Let's be pragmatic about this. Let's be adults here, all right? No cops, no nothing. Please, not the cops. Next one comes from Plo T Puck. Zero interest in the kid. Doesn't care what they do or what happens to them as long as they don't inconvenience them. Oh, yeah. It's about them too. It's their kids will just act like go up to a random person, kick them in the shin, just run away. And it's just, and the parents will just be like, eh. And we'll go up like, your kid just kicked me. It's like, what, are you gonna parent my kid? It's my kid. Is that illegal? It's like, take better care of your children. How about, like, what if have you ever thought about just, you know, parenting your child? But when it comes to them though, when the kids will just start kicking at their legs, they'll be like, hey, quit it. I'm trying to watch this live stream. I'm trying to watch Twitch on my phone. I'm trying to watch a Call of Duty live stream, you little shit. Reply from Super Lemonada. When my family moved to my current city, I was in high school. The school I enrolled in had the reputation of being a disposal for kicked out kids. Basically, I had a lot of rich classmates who had attitude problems, too much allowance, and extremely neglectful parents. Yeah, always the best way to solve, you know, rebellious kids and kids who are acting out is just throw money at them. Everyone knows that. All right? It's not about being a present parent. All right? If you think that you need to be present as a parent, you've got it all wrong. All right? It's about the money. All right? Just a couple grand, just, you know, maybe 10, 15 if you got it. Just whatever you have, it makes up for the lack of connection with your kids. It does. All right? Because when they need to get bailed out of their DUI, they're going to call daddy. So, you know, that's the connection you want with your kids. You know, you just want to make sure that they depend on you for everything and that they need you. But don't even bother about taking an interest in their lives. Honestly, so what? Who cares? Just throw a bunch of money at it. It's, you know, let Benjamin Franklin be their parent. Am I right? You know, or if you're Canadian like myself, let the Queen parent them. All right, that's bottom line. The Queen she's the Queen. All right, she can do all the parenting. Yeah, it's out of my hands. We had 2 separate incidents of 15-year-old classmates getting gonorrhea from sleeping with prostitutes. Some classmates frequent bars and men's clubs, even though they were very much underaged. One kid brought a bottle of expensive vodka to school, and she and a boy drank it all in one sitting. A boy ran over an old lady with his car. Some of them felt like they were untouchable. The parents thought a lot of things could be resolved by money. See? They can. There's this proof right here. There are even some nannies who go to the school instead of the parents when the school asks them for disciplinary discussions. We were 3 siblings raised by a single mother with a village, quote-unquote village, that cared. Who would have thought we were so much luckier than they were? And honestly, to a certain extent, you kind of feel bad for those kids. You know, like, you can grow up, you know, being in poverty, and you can have a really bad life. And I feel bad for people like that. And you can grow up in poverty and look back on your life and think you had a really good life. But you can also grow up rich and or privileged or whatever you want to call it, and look back and say, oh, wow, like my parents, what really mattered were my parents were there for me, and I had a lot of opportunities, and I used them to my advantage. You know, and I my parents taught me how to be a good person. Or you can say, my parents thought I was a disappointment. You know, they never loved me or showed attention to me or cared for me at all. You know, and then they just threw money at me. And a lot of these people, they get into drugs and all sorts of different stuff, and then they waste their lives away just because of poor decisions. But it also it stems further than that, right? And you see, to a certain extent, I do feel bad, because if you don't have really, at the end of the day, no matter how you grow up, so much of it is just a genuine connection with your parents, man, and actually being raised. You know what I mean? I know people who have grown up like really, really rich, but also they're great people. They're some of the best people I've ever met, because their parents actually raised them. You know, their parents actually took an effort to discipline them and to teach them and guide them through life, you know, and to make sure they learned important lessons. And it's the exact opposite. So you can come from a lot of life circumstances and be, you know, good and bad. Another reply from 0.5. My school held a vigil for 3 students who wrapped their car around a tree going 140 kilometers an hour in a school zone while impaired. All 3 had blood alcohol contents way above the legal limit for an adult and were not good kids but gifted athletes. They were the kids of some well-off families in the area, of course, so everyone was heartbroken by it. I got in trouble and scolded tenfold for pointing out the hypocrisy of this situation. My father is an alcoholic, so I might have been a bit jaded towards drunken stupidity. Yeah, no, it's just it's true though. It's big facts, right? You want to solve the issues you have with your children? Throw shitloads of money at them. Clearly, it solves all the problems. It just gets the job done. Ooh, this is a good one. Coming from Skunkweed. Mothers who see their daughters as competition. Oh my God. Like, oh, and dads do this too. This is like a massive thing with dads in sports. It's like their dads see their kids as their competition, and they'll put them down. They'll be like, "You didn't have a great game there, bud. All right, you weren't playing the game the right way. You were selfish. You know, you made terrible decisions." Dad, coach said that I played my best game of the season. He said I shared the ball. I dropped 30 points. You know, I was on fire from 3. It's like, shut up. All right, I'm your parent. You're going to listen to me. All right, now we're going to go home, and you're going to take 1,000 jump shots. All right, you're going to take jump shots till your fingertips bleed. All right? It's just, you are despicable. And to think, if you don't even know, if I was your age, with your height and the gifts you've been given, I wouldn't play the game like you. That's for sure. Wouldn't play the game like you. Same thing with the mothers who see their daughters as competition. I mean, I'm not a daughter of a mother. I mean, I'm a son of a mother. But also, don't get me wrong, my dad is not like this. My dad and I have very, very different interests. So it was good growing up because he took a big interest in the things that I did because they were very different from any of the things that he did. Where's the competition? Like, who are you competing? What do you want to win? Like, what's the end goal there? Like, you want to beat your daughter at like being like more attractive or something, and then you're gonna win the best parenting prize? Like, what's the end goal in that situation? It's literally just jealousy and self-depreciation. Yeah, they're so and obviously, you know, depreciation of other people. It's like, you know, well, yeah, how do I make this person into a successful human being? Oh yeah, I'm gonna make them feel like they're worth nothing. I'm gonna make them feel like everything they do is not adequate and that I could do it better, right? Because let's be real, I could do it better. You know, that always pissed me off so much when people would talk about their parents being like, I wouldn't have done it like that, Or I would have done it. I would have done it differently. I would have done it better. Or it's like, if you really want to do it the right way, you would have done it the way I did it. It's like, you know what? Then you do it. All right? You fucking had your chance. All right? Holy crap. Talk about just you're planting the seeds for extreme validation issues early, like later on in people's lives. Next one comes from Hellmain09. Taking the emotions of your child, first crushes, embarrassing moments that they talked with you about, are unsure about, worries they have, etc., and using it at a family gathering to get a laugh out of everybody. Oh, your child will be so embarrassed because of you and will not talk to you in the future. I'm 30 and my mother still does this to me sometimes. The difference is I will talk back in front of the whole family and suddenly she's embarrassed. Yeah, so Jeffrey, oh my God, how insane is this? So Jeffrey's impotent. He can't get the wife pregnant. And I keep telling him, you have to change your diet. It's all about your diet. All right, you need to be exercising, and you need to de-stress. Okay, Mom, you're stressing me the fuck out. No one needs to know this information. What's the thing? What's the thing? It's like, yeah, my little Jeremy kid. Yeah, couldn't get a drawing pregnant. You know, he just he's a wimp. What a wimp of a kid. He always has been. Isn't that right? You know, Jeremy. You've always just been a shy kid, but shy in the worst way, right? Isn't that right? Yeah. You should be more like Terrence. You know, you should be more like Terrence. He just gets it. You know, you should work on that. You should work on that. Next one comes from Face Catch. Face Catch? I don't know. Parents who can't apologize to a child. It's okay to have human emotions and a moment to be triggered or struggling and lash out and be wrong, but for the love of all things good, apologize and change. Oh my God. This is so massive. It's like a parent will just be the most, can just be so insulting to their child. And listen, I'm not talking about my parents. So parents, if you're listening, I'm not talking about you. But it's important to apologize to kids, because just because we have kids or we are looking after kids doesn't mean that all of our morality just is elevated to this level of pureness, that we are just the ultimate, moral people. We still make mistakes in and outside of having kids, and say stupid things in and outside of having kids, and being, and looking after kids and stuff like that. Like, I've had to apologize to my little cousins for saying stuff that offended them, and I didn't. And you know what? And I look back on that and I think to myself, oh damn, like, I shouldn't have said that. I said it without thinking. Maybe this is something my little cousin's kind of sensitive about, and I wasn't thinking about it. And they deserve an apology because I hurt their feelings because of that. And that's important, right? And I think it's also important for kids to see adults apologizing too, because then that means when they're adults, they're also going to be more likely to apologize to other people and to other kids. It's important. It's like, Dad, you literally said that I was shit at everything that I do and that I'll never be as smart as you. Just listen, I didn't mean those things, but it's sometimes we hear things we don't like. It's like, so you're not going to say sorry. You know what? Let's just say, we'll leave it, okay? We'll move on. We got to move on. See, there are things that people say and they don't mean them. All right, and we're just gonna move on. Can you say sorry? Like, maybe could you actually apologize? I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you felt that way about what I said. Oh, it's kind of the worst apology you could probably get from anyone. So yeah, I don't think that cuts it. Excuse me. Next one, Flashy Way 420 says, refusing to believe their kid can do wrong. Bro. Oh, it's on the other side too. It's like parents who think that their kids are just, is the worst at everything and completely just demoralize their kids. And then parents, it's just as bad as parents who believe that their kids are just untouchable. Those kids are the freaking worst, man, because they get away with everything. Well, Johnny doesn't set fires in school. He would never do that. We literally have camera footage of him setting fire to the toilet paper in the bathroom at school. We saw them walking out with burning toilet paper. We have it on camera. We found a lighter and fire paraphernalia in his bag. Like, we know it's him. You must be mistaken. It couldn't be him. Not my little Johnny. No, he wouldn't do such a thing. You right? Yeah, Mom, I wouldn't do that. That's not my personality. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't be that irresponsible. See? Look, he just told you. Now, I'm going to fucking sue this school for calling me down here and making false accusations. It's like, oh my God. I saw this video. Shout out to Wavy Web Surf. Go watch Wavy Web Surf's videos on YouTube. He's amazing. Really interesting. But there was one video he made recently of this. It was times where kids like got arrested for making threats on the internet. And one of them, this kid had, what was it? It was in Minecraft or something, or Discord or something like that. This kid, like typed in this thing in the chat saying that he was going to bring his parents' gun to school and shoot people the next day. And so people in the chat obviously reported this. And so the police came to the house and arrested the kid for making threats of mass killing. And the mom was just like if you can look it up on YouTube, like mom defends school shooter son or something like that. It's something like that. And she's just like, he's just a kid. The kid's 15. Okay. At 15 years old, if you don't know that you shouldn't be making threats of mass murdering people in a school, I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't think that you're setting yourself up for success. Right? I don't think we talk about life prospects on this podcast. I don't think the life prospects are very high for someone like that. It's just not gonna happen. So, and then this mom was just defending this kid so hard. She was like, "Oh, my son would never do that. He's just a kid. He wouldn't do those things." It's like, well, he literally said he was gonna do them. So, okay, he's not 8 years old. He's 15. Okay, he knows better than to be like, especially so specific with the threats. Like, it was like, bro, yeah, this is come on. You can only have that excuse for so long. Yeah, you can't claim that. Next one comes from Necromancer. Came here to make sure I'm not accidentally doing any of these things. Yeah, seriously. I don't know if this might be a reality check to any of my older listeners. Next one comes from Mr. Mojo Jojo Risen. Someone who treats their child from their old marriage like shit because they're no longer with that child's parent. Bro. Reply from Bar Throwaway, 1985. One of my employees had this happen. Her parents both basically moved on from their old lives when she was 5. Her mom ran off to Australia with some guy she met online, and her dad remarried and moved hours away. Neither of them wanted her. She went with one grandma for a while, then the other, then lived with the dad for a while, who assaulted her, and then back with grandma. It wasn't until she was an adult that she felt comfortable enough to talk about the assault. She never told anyone when it was happening, and her grandma, her dad's mom, told her she must have invited that kind of attention. Bro. After all of that, she's the sweetest, most loving person I've ever met. She's had some rough relationships, but she's turned a corner and seems to be blossoming. Let's go. That's awesome. We got the child ended up being, good because of that. But yeah, like let me just have a child, Like one of the most important things you can do, if not the most important thing you can do as a human being. And then since that child reminds me of my previous partner, they'll figure it out. I'll just neglect them. How about that? How about I just ignore their entire existence and refuse to take any part in their lives? And I bet this situation is gonna turn out amazing, right? Like that. Like, what is the mindset there? Like, you know what? You know what happens to kids when you just like forget about them? They basically disappear. They pretty much. It's almost like they weren't even there. If you're getting annoyed with your kids, or you just, the amusement has worn off, just forget about them. Just leave them in the dust. Just completely neglect them. Drop them off somewhere. I don't know. That's up to you. And then you can just restart your life, basically. Yeah, it's a pretty tried and true method. It's got a its efficacy is proven. I'll say that. I'll say that situation it's got to work out. It has to work out, right? Because that's what happens when you have problems. If you just forget them, ignore that they exist, they work out. All right, life has that way, right? Life works itself out. That's what people say, right? So, I'm just trusting the process. I'm really trusting the process on that one. All right, next one comes from Rare Criticism 1059. Pulling the "I guess I'm the worst parent in the world" when approached by their child with a question. Actively making the child feel guilty for expressing their own opinions in an effort to make themselves feel better. Oh my God. This is wild. It's funny, like, I'm never... I feel like... I've never experienced any of this stuff personally, but I've definitely like seen it happen. It's kind of wild. It's unlocking some memories here for me. I'm like, because I was like young when all this stuff happened. When I'm around my friends as a kid, being around their parents, and I'm just kind of like, oh, that was awkward. That was weird. I'm gonna go home now. Like I guess sometimes as a kid, sometimes you don't really think about you don't have the capacity to think about them in like the larger aspects, but. Now I'm getting some very interesting memories right now. But yeah, it's like, Mom, you don't work. All right, I need you to work. I'm in school. All right, we can't afford to live. I'm working too. Mom, you need to work. I guess I'm just the worst parent in the world then. I guess you hate me. I guess I'm Hitler. Right? I guess I'm just a terrorist. Right? Am I Osama bin Laden to you? That's just who I am, right? Because that's what you're telling me. No, I told you that you need to get a job, right? Oh, I'm sure they told Hitler that too. I'm sure they told Osama. Yeah, I'm sure they told the leaders of ISIS. They need to get jobs too. So is that all I am to you? What you are to me is a psychopath. Yeah, I'm getting that this is not computing. There's some developmental issues in people like that. They didn't get they didn't go the full way with the developmental cycle of their trajectory of their lives. Next one comes from Y2K420 Juicy Couture. That's a lot. Holy crap. Excuse me. Parents who believe that their children owe them for providing basic care, food, shelter, and clothes. Well, I bought you clothes when you were 5 years old. So, real rich coming from you. All right? I literally fed you as a baby. And, like, come on. Like, you don't honestly think you owe me for that? You honestly don't think that this is a transaction. Okay, this is a bargain, right? I didn't have you. I had you so that you would pay off. You were an investment to me, right? I had you so that if I invested, I would get my money back in you as a child. That's what children are. They are an investment, okay? And right now, this is a depreciating asset. This is not working out for me. So I think we need to terminate this relationship. All right, it's not working out for me. all right? But Dad, no. Holy crap. It's crazy to think there are actually people out there like that, though, that truly believe that their kids like owe them or need to pay them back. It's like, yeah, let's treat children like, you know, like a stock. You know, we need to invest early. You know, just bet all your chips, and you know, it's gonna pay off. You know, the children owe you. They literally have to. It's written into the child contract of the world. Next one comes from Viking16. My daughter's teacher called one day to tell us her daughter was bullying another student so relentlessly that he was afraid to come to school. We talked to our daughter, and she said she had no idea what we were talking about. Whenever we asked the teacher for the student's name, she actually gave it to us. Whenever we asked the teacher for the student's name, she actually gave it to us. Turns out, I know his mother from high school. So I called her and talked with her, and at first, she had no idea what I was talking about. Then she suddenly remembered everything and told me this long story about how her son is afraid of my daughter, blah, blah, blah. I talked with one of this lady's friends a few days later, and she told me that she had confessed to her that she just doesn't get enough sleep, always misses her alarms in the morning, and just doesn't get up to take her kids to school. Her first instinct when the school called her about absences was to blame my daughter for bullying her kid. Oh my God. So it didn't even come from the kid. It came from the mom. It came from the neglectful mom that was just like, William's daughter, what is it? Yeah, William's daughter, Jessica or Jennifer or something. Yeah, something like that. She's bullying. She's bullying. And that's why my son doesn't want to show up to school. Like, relentlessly bullying. Like, she is just giving it to him. You know, he's acting erratically. He doesn't want to go to school, doesn't want to show up. It's like, really? You don't know the bully's name? And why would you say the parent's name first? That's kind of strange. I wouldn't think that, just that you might know some of that basic information. All right, let's go a couple more here. Max 1 million says, punishing their kids with haircuts, less food, less attention, or taking their door, especially for things like asking too many questions or talking back, just because they didn't understand something and wanted a real reason or explanation on why they had to or could not do something. Regalin replies and says, because I said so. Yeah, it's the because I said so parent. Oh my God. Okay. Punishing the kids with the haircuts is definitely, it's humiliating. You should never punish let's the best way to make sure that a kid doesn't do anything again, humiliate them. Yeah, why don't you make them feel ostracized in public? Why don't you make them feel terrible about themselves, that everyone's looking at them, and that they are the focus of all the shame directed in the world? I think that's a really healthy thing for children to experience. That's probably, you want to stop something, stop a behavior, too many questions at the zoo? Well, you whip out those scissors. You just whip them out. There you go. Talk back now. Talk back now. I just cut your braids off. Yep. Now when we get home, I'm making you go bald. How are you going to like that? Too many questions. I don't understand giraffes. Stop asking me questions about the goddamn giraffes. All right? You piss me off. Now you're going to look bald. How do you like that? Yeah. The other thing, less food here, that's just starvation. That is just torture. Okay, humiliation, that's bad. Right? Starving a child? Okay, that's a crime. Okay? You should be going to jail for that. That's that's awful. And definitely parents who don't give their kids personal space or believe that private space is important. It's like, we gave birth to you. Okay, you're our child. We can take your door, do whatever you want. There is no privacy in our house. It's like, that is such a toxic way of thinking. What are you so scared of? What do you think your kid is up to? Like, why do you want to, like, you are born separate from the child. There's a reason why. Okay? There's a reason why we're not connected at the freaking hip. Why I'm not seeing everything that you see. You know, there's good reasons for that. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap it up there for today's episode. Thank you all again so much for tuning into this week's episode of the Reddit Asks Us podcast, the podcast where we read and react to comments from r/Askreddit. I am your host, Luke Dick. Remember, if you're watching on YouTube, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating, and also please leave us a review. Remember, you can answer this week's Reddit question by going to the description of the episode in Spotify and clicking the description, and there should be a white icon that says reply. You can reply to the question, and I will read it aloud on the next week's following episode, and you will be notified when your response is published. I love each and every single one of you. Peace out. Love you. Bye.